Hey, this is Ali Director coming to you with another video. Today I want to talk about debt consolidation. So quite a lot of customers have asked me, hey Ali, do you guys do debt consolidation loans or can you help me consolidate some debt? Having some issues and I'd love to get rid of the high interest payments that I have right now. And if you have a way, if you can please guide me, that'll be great. So I want to talk about this today because I feel it's important to address that. Of course, I think that a lot of people, when it comes to debt consolidation, they have the wrong idea. So I want to clarify first of all, what debt consolidation is and what you should be doing, so that you're, positioned to go into a debt consolidation scenario. Now, first of all, for the most part, a lot of creditors that you're dealing with, and hopefully they're major financial institutions, and if they are, what you can, essentially do is you can call them up and you can say, look, I can no longer afford this minimum payment, right? The trick is really to call them and say, look, I cannot afford this minimum payment. And the reason I say that you need to do that is because when you do that, it emphasizes that you're in the potential of not being able to pay and the potential of losing the interest that they're making right now, overnight. So what they need to do is they need to put you in a program that can typically shut down the balance, shut down the limit, and put you on a payment plan to pay off the debt. And typically, those come with a very low interest rate. So one of the things that I want to say is, you can actually get into those programs by simply calling the bank. Now, there's a lot of people who say, well, debt consolidation is a good idea because it keeps my balances open, and I can work with that and just work a scenario out, right? So one of the things you need to understand with debt consolidation is when you approach debt consolidation, the first thing you're gonna have to do is, in most cases, you'll have to shut down those cards anyways. Okay, and the reason I say that is because the professional credit counselors out there, the national organization that are nonprofit, when they go into and create a debt consolidation scenario for you, the possibility of them saying, look, Ali, you'll have to shut down these cards, or Jason, you have to shut down these cards because when you enter our program, we're starting to negotiate with these creditors, and it's going to take a couple of years, but end result is you can't use these cards anymore. And when you do that, when you have a third party representing you, and when they go and negotiate with your creditor, most people think that it's not really going to hurt their credit, but in reality, it is because now it shows that, okay, well, you're not responsible. You had to get a mediator in place. You had to get a debt consolidator in place. And although you're going to pay them, and the creditors now have to deal directly with them, they lose confidence in your ability to borrow. So in the future, if you were to go ahead and apply, they'll start you with very low balances. And sometimes they'll ask you for a deposit. It's not uncommon to see that. Some people get lucky. They don't need that. About 85% of the cases I've seen, when you go back to the same financial institutions or when you try to apply again, what they ask for is security deposit. And, that's a very unfortunate thing because I'm pretty sure that you don't want to be in that circumstance. So to clarify, right, you can actually call your financial institutions, especially if they're major financial institutions. If you're dealing with, let's say, Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Capital One, Citibank, all those big companies, right? You can actually call them and say, look, I can no longer afford my minimum payment. Don't start by saying I want to lower my interest rate because that's basically saying, hey, look, I'm going to reduce your income. Is that okay? The financial institutions, the way they make their money is on the interest they earn on unsecured lending. That's where they're higher, right? The rates are higher. But the end result is if you can show them goodwill and say, look, I want to close my balance, I want to close my limit, but I can't afford the minimum payment. Do you have something that I can work out? And then they actually transfer you to, most people say it's the hardship department, it's the payment department, and they do an assessment, right? They go through all the information, they go through your expenses, they go through all the other debts you have, and then they ask you how much you make. Now, the trick is, they don't check your income. So, most people say, well, I make this much, I make that much. And one of the things you have to realize is if you don't qualify and if the income doesn't make sense, right? Even if the payment's lower, they'll say, well, sometimes you can't qualify because you're making too much, right? Or you don't fall within that bracket and you can get disqualified. So you have to be prepared. You have to have your numbers ready before you actually call them. And I encourage everyone to do this. I actually think this is a better idea than debt consolidation. Although we can do debt consolidation in a very creative way. If you have assets, if you have all these other things, then by all means you can go that route. But if you don't have those assets and if you're just trying to do debt consolidation on just for the sake of doing it, you're going to hurt your credit long term. Okay, so be careful with what you do, and always look at the solutions that you have in front of you, analyze them, see what the best cases are, what the worst cases are, and then make a decision from that. Okay, I hope this video was helpful. This is Ali Taraftar, your guide and mentor, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.